You're joking, right?
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be optimistic about that.
Well, I guess you're too young to be a little pessimistic like me. The fucking things I see out there, people are stupid.
Hey, Brownie. How many years has it been?
Of doing this?
Yeah, 5 maybe?
No, we started in November or October or November of 2022. No, 21. Because, right,
So
COVID
it's almost,
was...
it's 3.5 years.
Yeah,
All right.
which is a lot.
It's a long time. Happy Passover.
Lots changed. Yeah, Hag Sameach, as they say.
Oh, you're religious now.
No, that's what they say.
I know. Who's they?
Jews.
The
The Jews.
So, yeah, 3.5 years is a long time.
Yeah. A lot has changed.
Good stuff.
Yeah, no, great
Knock on
stuff.
wood, all things.
That
But that's
wood?
what life is. There's wood in there.
Is there? Yeah, I guess.
There's definitely things that, but that's how life evolves.
Yeah, it's cool that the people watching have seen our lives evolve.
Yeah, people love it, I guess. So, just want to say congratulations on finishing your mock trial for your litigation class. And
Thank you.
you got a defendant's verdict, which was good.
I won the case, yes.
And you did a good job. I was very proud of you.
Thanks, it was fun. Dad was the expert witness. And the main,
Chief Donald Olson.
you were the main witness, and you were, because like everything, even their expert was like basing everything off you. And you did a good job. And
Thank you. The judge thought I was a real expert, right? She's comments funny.
Well, you were speaking about arson investigations like you were an arson investigator. You were like, okay, well, here's the deal. HCL, when it comes to like you knew what you were saying, so it was good.
And flames go vertical unless there's a way for it.
You were like, okay, so flames. You were very matter of fact about it, but that's what an expert is. So it was perfect, and it helped us win.
And you did a great job. I was very proud of you.
And you were talking to the jury a lot, which was good.
I purposely did that.
Yeah.
I purposely did that to help you.
Yeah.
Because none of you guys really walked around.
No, I think that also just comes with like comfort. You know, that was the
Exactly.
first time I was ever in a courtroom.
No, Bronny, it's all just lack of experience. But you guys did a great job. I think I told you when I was in court, I was this like trial, large evidentiary hearing in Tampa. And the witness for the plaintiff and the defendant was constantly looking at her lawyer. So I think I told you. So I stepped away from the podium, and I even moved the podium directly in line because the lawyer was sitting at her desk, and the elderly woman who's the witness, who was the main plaintiff, kept looking. So
you blocked her view.
completely blocked the view purposely. And those are things you need to do.
Right. Like the
And she
gamesmanship.
fucking was frazzled when I did that.
It is interesting. I guess you don't realize it. I didn't realize it before like I started learning about it because you just don't know. But a lot of
did a
it
great job.
is like game/strategy.
It's all theater.
There's like not that much of, I mean, a lot of it is law.
But there is
But a
theater.
lot of it is like what are you doing and how are you doing it?
Right. And when the judge did say you need to act as if you believe your client, that's where the passion comes in.
Well, she even asked one of the other
And she was like,
lawyers. She was like, I'm asking you right now, do you believe your client? She was like, well, there's good parts to it. And it's like, no, that's not what the judge wants. The judge is giving you a test right now.
You can't convince, if you don't, you got to sell it. Even if you don't believe, you got to sell it. So when you go before judges and not individual jurors and lay people, when you go before judges, you have to be really emphatic about it and passionate about it and oppose the judge and still keep fighting. And this way it shows there's a difference there, and making sure you're pleading and the binders, everything's properly done. So you did a great job. I got a lot of enjoy. It was a long day.
We had like an actual, for those who, because we didn't really say what it was. I'm in a class where the whole class is just learning like how to
litigation.
do a trial.
It was litigation.
How to litigate a case from start to finish. And so for the last like month or so, we've been prepping for our final trial. We were given, a whole case file.
Fact pattern.
And we were assigned a real judge. Like she's a real Miami district judge.
Went to the courthouse.
We went to the courthouse and we did it like we had to bring our own witnesses. We had real jurors that had no idea. They just showed up for the day.
Kudos to the people, those kids agreeing to be
Very
jurors.
nice of them.
Is that the river?
No, it was your phone. Just buzzed.
Oh, but kudos for that.
Yeah.
Like really, everyone.
I mean, it's a cool experience though. If
We
you're
left our
interested in that.
house at 7:15, and we didn't
Got home till like 4.
Yeah, that's a long fucking day.
Long day.
But
Well, I appreciate your help.
you don't have to appreciate. That's what we got.
Well,
to
no,
enjoy.
I
You're
do
welcome.
appreciate it.
It was very enjoyable. I got like tears in my eyes when you're doing your opening. I'm like, oh my God, am I going to cry up in the witness stand? Then I got like a little
Why?
nervous.
Why? Because it was just like seeing me.
Well, you get
Be
the
a
first
professional?
of all the enjoyment of it. 2, seeing how proud and you're going to do a good job. 3, like when I said at dinner last night, it's so nice that to get to see. When Mom and I were building our future, we're in it. We don't watch it. You can't feel it the same way. But now that we're in a very different position in many different ways, all good, thank God, we get to stop and smell the roses and watch all our kids build their futures. And it's so nice. And there's just so many good things behind it. So when I'm watching you do something you care about, you have a passion, and you grow, and I see it just reminds of what we did, and watching you build this, you get a lot of enjoyment. And as a kid, you wouldn't understand until one day you become a parent. And it's so that part. And then I got a little nervous, which is weird because I don't get nervous ever on those things. And I was getting, maybe it was so fucking cold in that place. I was shaking.
It was extremely
I was
cold in
shaking.
that, yeah.
But I couldn't stop freezing my ass off. So then I got a little nervous because I'm like, I don't want to fuck it up for you because I could fuck it up for you.
I guess you could, but
But I didn't.
You wouldn't.
Right.
Like, yeah.
And then once I started, I was you know.
Yeah.
So it was a good
You
day.
warmed up. You were definitely stronger on the cross than you were on the direct. Like, you were more just like, I know what I'm talking about. on
Well,
the
because
cross.
I wanted to stick. You had a script, and you told me I didn't want to go too far because what I was afraid of was if I went through this paragraphs and you had specific questions, I would have fucked up your whole system.
The flow.
And I didn't want to do that to you, so that's why I just answered your questions.
Yeah.
There was purpose.
good.
It was
Yes.
intentional.
Yeah.
And then with her, I can do whatever the fuck I want to do on the cross.
And you flustered her.
I didn't want to be difficult.
No, you weren't difficult. Their expert was more difficult to me than
He
you
was,
were to them.
He was, and you kept your cool.
Yeah. I actually think I slammed
I should
dunked
have
him
beaten the
at the
shit
end.
out. I should have beat the shit out of him when he.
No, he was giving me a hard time, and I think it actually helped me because I think everyone saw, oh, this is hard.
And
but
he
then
didn't look
I
good.
Worked exactly.
He honestly, he came off too.
Well, and I let him. I stayed back and I was like, I'm going to let him. I know what the truth is, and I know that he's not delivering it correctly, so I'm just going to let him seem kind of erratic. And I think it came across that way.
He was a little too much and made him look like an idiot. And then one thing I should have done, I should have looked at his report, and I should have looked at the thing where she showed like whatever. But it's okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
All right, so that was it. So here we are, Passover, and I pretty much worked all day and still working.
Yeah.
What's wrong with this world that I'm working so much and you get to relax and watch TV?
Well, I just relaxed and watched TV today
Yeah,
on a
it's
Sunday.
terrible.
Sunday, the day of rest.
Yeah,
The Christian day of rest.
All right, so what's going on, my brother?
Um,
So the wedding's approaching, which people know about.
Yep.
Very exciting.
Just over a month away.
Yep. So that's exciting. A lot between now and then, just in life. And yeah. Mr.
all
Miss,
right, well,
oh God,
It's
Mr.
not-
and
it's a
Mrs.
joke.
Bronson Bloom. Is she gonna take your last name?
yeah.
Okay.
But no, but like when I don't like the Mr. and Mrs. Jonathan Bloom. It's like why?
That's just a tradition.
No,
just
I know,
like
but it's just a
everything.
weird. That
Because
one's a weird
she's
one.
your wife. That's how they
Yeah,
do
but
it. What do you want them to say?
She's Mrs. Jonathan Bloom. Mom, do you think
No.
of her as Mrs. Jonathan Bloom? It's just
I don't
weird.
think they say that. Do they say now Jonathan and Nell Bloom?
No, I
think-
know, but like the formal address of something would be like Mr. and Mrs. Jonathan
She's your
Bloom.
property, bro.
Yeah, right. That's true. I forgot about
Remember
that.
you roll.
She isn't yet, but the day that the
don't be
wedding is.
sporting a vagina. Remember you roll. She's your property.
Yeah.
Let her know her role, bitch. No, I'm only joking.
Right. No, that's true.
It's just it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. There was a crazy thing that happened the day after we recorded, or the day of that we recorded our last episode, I think, but it was like right after, which I don't know if you knew if you
I
know
don't,
about.
Brian. I've been working so much. I don't know anything.
It's not politics. It's just like a crazy
I don't know
scientific
if
like
anything's going
breakthrough.
on.
There's this company called Colossal Bioengineering or something, and they started, years ago with the goal of de-extincting animals. So like an animal that's extinct, like the woolly
Bringing it
mammoth.
back. So Jurassic Park.
Yeah. and they did it with one of them, a direwolf, like from Game of Thrones, a direwolf, which like existed. It was a wolf in America that existed. The last one died out like we think 10,000 years ago, 12,000 years ago. I don't think they're not like as huge as Game of Thrones, but they brought them back.
Why?
2 of them. There are 2 of them that exist.
Seriously,
3.
show me this. And why would they do that? It's not good.
Well, so that's what I guess I want to talk about a little bit. What their goal apparently...
It could destroy the whole, where you going to put it? In cage?
Well, so apparently what a lot of the science leads, at least this is what they're saying and stuff, is that there are certain animals that like the ecosystem and the everything around it, the animals below them and above them, like there are certain animals that nature relies on.
Who
right?
makes
So, like,
that determination though?
Scientists.
But I know, but still people.
No, but like what
Just
happened
educated people, but nature
like
makes that
we
determination.
killed off in Wyoming and Colorado in these areas, like we killed off all of the wolves, right? 100 years ago. People were just like, fuck wolves. They keep they keep killing our cows and our livestock. So we killed them all off. And then ever since then, we've just had an insane amount of deer, right? Because there's nothing to
too
kill.
much. Yeah.
There's nothing to kill the deer.
Right.
And then the deer aren't dying. So then they're getting sick and interbreeding. And then you get all these crazy prion diseases. And then that ends up killing lower animals because the deers die. And then, the fox that eats the deer then gets hurt. So apparently that's a huge problem. And then they introduced a few wolves into Yellowstone like 10 years ago.
And it helped.
And it brought everything back into balance.
Okay, fair enough.
So it's like, wolves evolved at a certain point within the ecosystem to do that. So apparently there's like ideas that if woolly mammoths get introduced up into the Arctic, it could like cause a better ecosystem. They trample the snow in a certain way. I don't know I don't know the details, but apparently they say that
we have the
herds
DNA from
of woolly
fossils.
Mammoths. Yeah, so I listened. The guy who started it went on Rogan and talked all about it.
It's amazing.
Apparently, they're not 100%, right? Like the direwolves that they created, they're not 100% direwolves exactly as they would have been because they find DNA. So they find a direwolf skull that has a tooth left, and they're able to extract a little bit of DNA from that. And then, they hunt for 10 years to find as much DNA as they can. And they're only able to get a certain amount because DNA degrades like super fast.
So they're born with 3 legs?
No, so what they do is how he explained it, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but like they find as much as they can. And I think in the direwolves, he was like, we got like 85% direwolf DNA. But also, you have to realize that like we share 96% of our DNA with chimps, right? Like that's how much DNA we share with them. So it's only a few little details here and there that are different. So they find like a vast majority, well over 50% of actual direwolf DNA. And then they find its closest relative, which was like the gray wolf. And then they use AI and computers to like see what's missing in the direwolf DNA. And then they
Isn't it amazing?
use gray wolf DNA to guess the rest of what it would be. So then they give birth to this thing and they're like, we don't know what it's going to look like. They're literally like, we have no idea what it's going to look like. We have no idea what it's going to be.
When you say give birth, what do they give birth in? On a test tube?
I think they impregnate a gray wolf. So like for the woolly mammoth, they're going to impregnate an elephant. And the elephant will give birth to a woolly mammoth, a different type of elephant. But it's close enough related to the elephant. The elephant mother can carry the embryo.
How fucking wild is that? I got to see that.
And so they don't know what it's going to look like.
Oh, they already did it.
They have 2 males that were born like 2 years ago. So now they're adolescents, but they kept it secret. And then they just had a female that they birthed.
I got to see this.
And
you got to admit, it is brilliant.
They had no idea what color they were going to come out. They're stark white, completely just pure white, which is really interesting.
So they can't live in the wilderness. They have to live in the Arctic.
They're Arctic. Yeah, but they were around. They lived during the Ice Age. Direwolves lived during the Ice Age, so it makes sense that they would have been white. But we had no idea, right? And like, so they're completely white, and they just look a little bit different than a wolf. They're a little stockier. They have a different kind of hair. I'll show them to you.
Wow.
And it's
a
just
little
so
scary,
crazy.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's super scary.
Make it bigger.
Here are the 2. See if I can go to.
It's amazing they're born, isn't it?
Yeah. So they have a slightly different snout than a wolf, right? They have a slightly different stance.
Yeah, I would think it's a wolf.
Let's see, so this is how they get the DNA.
Wow.
They don't they don't tell where they're. Look how cute the puppy is. And
Are they bigger?
they don't know yet. They're not full grown. I think he said that they're 80 pounds right now at like 2, but wolves don't, and like the wolves that we know don't stop growing until, I don't know, but whatever it is. So he said they're going to grow more. There's pictures, there's videos of them running around in their habitat.
So they're now in cage, right?
They live on a preserve, a secret preserve that you know, because they don't want people coming in and stealing these wolves. They live on a huge secret preserve. I want to see if I can get.
It's amazing what they can do. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
So people were they said this is the first time that a dire wolf howl has been heard for over 10,000 years. Isn't that it's just so crazy?
The howl of a dire wolf hasn't been heard on planet Earth for more than 10,000 years. That's because the species is extinct, or was. Colossal Biosciences is a Dallas-based company that's using genetic engineering to de-extinct long-gone species. And this is the first time Colossal's dire wolf pups, who are now 6 months old, have been seen by the public.
Okay.
Hey Ben, Jeff Kluger from Time Magazine.
So that's the CEO?
Yeah, I mean,
D24.
There.
And in January, they were joined by a younger sister that the Colossal team named Khaleesi.
Super cute.
Each
and then
wolf is on
they're working on woolly mammoths.
So where do they get the money from? Pledges?
They have a lot of investors. Like it's super cool, but also it's like
I think it's a little
we
scary.
shouldn't be doing it. Probably.
I think it's what are they going to do now? Pterodactyls and things that fly.
No, well, they can't do dinosaurs. There hasn't been I've listened to him on Rogan. The guy, they haven't been able to find a single piece of dinosaur DNA ever. It just doesn't exist. It's too far. Dire wolves went extinct. Woolly mammoths, dire wolves went extinct like 5,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago.
Still amazing.
Dinosaurs went extinct 65 million years ago, right? Like it's such a huge difference that they've never been able to find dinosaur DNA. But the dodo bird, they're working on bringing back. Woolly mammoth, saber-toothed tigers.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree. I don't know if I agree with it. What's the worth of this company?
I don't know. Let's see. Colossal Biosciences.
Is it a public or private company?
I think it's private.
It's amazing.
I know that they have like a lot of big investors. Colossal Biosciences is a genetic engineering company working to de-extinct several species, including the woolly mammoth, the Tasmanian tiger, the white rhino, the dire wolf, the dodo bird. Wants to reintroduce woolly mammoths into the Arctic tundra. Likewise, it is the Tasmanian tiger. The company, let's see, does it have total equity 10.2 billion? So there's some. That's what worries me is that they're claiming we want to.
I'm listening.
Like they claim we want to do this for good. Like we want to make the world a better place.
I don't know if that's the right. It's scary.
But how much? Why is there so much money in there? There's not money to be made, right? There's not money to be made in making woolly mammoths.
No, but why are they doing it?
Yeah, I don't know. So there are really like, do we need to bring back animals that were so far extinct? I don't know, but like the white rhino, right? That the last one went extinct like 20 years ago because poachers kept killing them. It's like, that's something that if we have that DNA, we should bring that back.
Because humans fucked them up.
Right. Like we directly killed those within my fucking lifetime.
Well, we easy that tough guy.
Or even like the Tasmanian tiger. Do you know about that?
No, what's it look like?
You know Tasmania in Australia, the little island in South Australia. I
know Tasmanian devil.
Yeah, so that's also from Tasmania.
The cartoon.
Yeah, the Tasmanian tiger was a marsupial, so it had a pouch that its babies lived in.
Okay.
Which are very rare animals, marsupials. They're only kind of in Australia. And it was the top predator in Tasmania, which is important, right? Like if you wipe out your top predator, everything below, it's just different. And we wiped it out in like the 20s. There's a video of the last remaining one. It was in a zoo in Sydney, I think. And they have video of it. And then that was the last one. And now they all died because they kept killing... You know, all the
people evil.
People moved to Tasmania and they were raising sheep because it was, you know, that was like the big export. And the Tasmanian tigers kept killing the sheep. So they killed the tigers, and then now they're extinct. So if this company can be like, we can bring them back.
And do what? Put them back in and kill the sheep?
But it's like, what? Yeah, I mean, I'm
just saying, what do you do, right?
I don't know. What do you do? The problem is, so Tasmanian devils, I don't know if you know, there's a huge problem with them.
They're vicious motherfuckers, right?
Well, they're vicious, but they have the only form of spreadable cancer, and they spread it to each other. And it's like it's destroying their population. It's destroying them. And so apparently that's a huge problem in Tasmania. And then also Tasmania is now overrun with like wallabies which are like small kangaroos, and wombats. They're overrun with animals like deer, small animals that are prey animals, because there's nothing to kill them. So, and the Tasmanian tigers, the theory is this cancer wouldn't spread as much because the tigers would be eating the, sickly Tasmanian devils. So they wouldn't spread it. So in science, or in nature,
the hierarchy,
you do need your peak predator to keep everything in balance.
Right, rather than the human being just being the predator.
Yeah, and it's like, who are we to come in and wipe out a beautiful animal that just now doesn't exist?
Interesting.
This is what the Tasmanian tiger looks like. It's super cool. Like, look at these things. They're like dogs with stripes.
They're cool. Scary, actually.
Yeah. They're not that big. I think they're probably like the size of a lab, maybe.
Looks like I Am Legend.
They're weird. They don't look like they should be real, right? There's a video of the last one. Tasmanian tiger last.
It is amazing what science can do. It really is amazing. Engineering and science.
This is the last known Tasmanian tiger.
Tasmanian tiger,
in a zoo.
Easily distinguished by his straight, unjointed tail, is also a dangerous opponent, though, like
looking,
the devil, is now very rare, being forced out of its natural habitat.
It looks like
by the march
a
of
mixed breed of something.
Yeah.
This
like a hybrid.
is the only one in
Like
captivity
hyena,
in the
tiger,
world.
dog.
But then it's like, who are we to, have gotten rid of this animal? I don't know. It's just.
It is very
But
interesting.
then who are we to bring something back? Like, that's like playing God.
Well, isn't cloning?
This company can clone too.
Isn't
They've
it
cloned things?
Isn't it genetically making body parts? I mean,
all of it is morally and philosophically.
There's good and bad argument. You can make an argument. I can make an argument as we sit here today on both sides.
Definitely. And there's no right one.
It's scary.
I guess at the end of the day, it's like, maybe we shouldn't mess around with genetics, because also
maybe there should be harder consequences for human beings destroying our world.
Yeah. But the problem too is it's the same worry that I have with AI, right? Like genetic
AI
engineering.
is a big problem.
But genetic engineering like this, right? Let's say because they're doing this with
Isn't it wild though, Bronny? Just wasn't it wild 30 years ago the movies were like this with the genetics, and now they're in reality.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They were just thoughts.
So this company,
and you're like, that never can happen, and now here it is.
Yeah, and then it's like, who knows what the hell could happen?
And who knows what? By the way, who knows what they're doing without us knowing?
Yeah, but that's kind of my point. So
they're making people. They could be fucking harvesting people in basements we don't even know involved.
100%, or yeah. So they a month ago released, because they're working on the woolly mammoth, and they say we're actively working on it. We'll have one by 2028. That's what they're working on. They released these just for fun. They're woolly mice. They took the woolly mammoth genes.
See, I don't agree with that.
Woolly mammoths woolly.
I get it.
And they put them into mice. I mean, how cute is that, though? I want a woolly mice. A woolly mouse.
But you understand, now they're playing God.
So then if they can
Is
do
that
stuff
even
like
with
that.
grapes and food and what they do, they genetically make all these different kind of grapes and plants and hybrids. I mean, they're doing the same thing on vegetables and plants.
Yeah. And so the guy said on Rogan, he was like, well, we have a very strict rule. We're never going to touch humans. But it's like,
where do you draw the line? What about chimps?
But where do you draw? Okay, that company can draw the line, but you think in China they're drawing that line?
There's no guidelines.
I think there was a report that came out 15 years ago or 10 years ago in China that this scientist engineer he used CRISPR, which is what they do. That's the gene editing software. It's like gene editing technology, and he used CRISPR to remove some gene from 6 babies, young, or embryos, and then they were born. And the report said it was to remove some disease or something. But it turns out that it actually made them like extremely smart. It like jacked their IQs up, these kids. We don't know what happened to them, right? It was the Chinese government said, we're arresting him. We don't want any reports. We don't want any.
Right, we don't want anything being out there in the public.
No, it was the Chinese government said, we don't want anyone experimenting on humans. This is wrong. We don't want to do this. But it's like, come on, they were in on it because nothing gets done in China without the government knowing.
You don't know. They tell you what they want to tell you.
And they put this guy in jail, and then no one's heard from him since. And it's like, you get guaranteed they are making genetically superior people in China, right? Imagine what you can do to soldiers, right? If you can take a soldier and you can make Captain America's, you can make a whole army.
Right. So in 30 years, they will rule the world.
Right. So then it worries me. It's like, no one should be doing this.
No, it's scary.
But if someone else says, we fucking have to.
And how do you stop it?
I know.
It's just like, how do you stop the AI?
That's what I'm saying. Right? Like once nuclear weapons existed, they're here forever. You had to be building a nuclear weapon arsenal because other people had
The AI is a big problem, Bronny. It's a problem.
So I just thought it was cool. Like they're actually now, for the first time ever in human history, there's an animal that exists that went extinct, and they brought it back.
It's I don't know what the world's going to be for your kids and your kids' kids, and even you with the iPhone, social media, AI, all the shit, marijuana being legalized. There's nothing positive that I've seen happen in the last 20 years.
Well, that's not true.
Okay, I'm talking, I'm saying, generally.
But also there are a lot of a lot of these technologies have pros. Genetic engineering has a lot of pros.
I agree, but
imagine if you, like, I'm not going to use me as an example. Let's say a young couple gets pregnant and the doctor is like, hey, look, we can tell that your baby will have
defects.
This, whatever. I don't want to, whatever.
Defects.
Yeah. We'll have this defect. We can remove it. It's very easy. We can just take it out. That's a huge
I agree with it.
pro.
Isn't that amazing?
Right.
You're right.
That's unbelievable.
You're right.
And it's like, that's something, I don't know.
But some people might say no.
Right. My child is my child.
Right. And if you're religious, you say no.
This is what God wanted me to have.
So that's where the subjectivity comes in.
But I'm not, I don't know how I feel on it, though.
No, if God forbid you were...
Right. We can use me because let's say when mom was pregnant with me,
we would say remove it. We would say remove it.
We learned that your baby will have cystic fibrosis.
We would say remove it.
Yeah.
But the religious will say no.
No, right. They won't.
And they're not wrong either.
But then the problem.
Wait, they're not wrong either.
No,
that's their opinion.
But the problem with that is then if that keeps going and there's a group of people that say we don't want to touch it, we don't want to touch our babies, and then there's a group of people, and it'll most likely be people that have money, will say we are going to make our babies as perfect as possible. If you think there's a gap between the rich and the poor now, it'll literally be gods and peasants, right? If you can genetically engineer a group of humans and I can make my child an absolute super genius IQ.
Well, could you do that?
Why couldn't you? But
I don't know, like put the inject something in there that makes you smarter.
No, they just find genes that raise IQ and then they turn those on, right? And I can make my child very tall. I can make my child have a predisposition for very strong, dense muscles.
Right.
For how they say like African people have fast twitch muscle fibers, and that's what makes them really good long distance runners. I can make my child have fast twitch muscle fibers. Like I can make my child into a superhero, and it'll be such a drastic difference from the religious family that's like, we don't want to touch our child, and their child will just be normal, and it'll stratify the world. And then what if a government is like, North Korea, let's say they, have this technology and they make every single child. It's a law. Every single pregnant woman needs to come into the lab, and we're going to make them as perfect as possible.
And they'll do that.
And the North Korea
can do that.
Right. Of course they will
do that. 100%.
And then they can take over the world because their people will all be perfect. Like, it's such a crazy idea, but then there's also a lot of good to it. Like AI. There's a lot of good to AI that could really, really help the world.
And there's so much fraud and so many different areas in the law now, and we don't know what's real and not real. And it's a problem. I don't know the answer.
No one does.
I don't like it. I like simpler things, Bronson. I don't like I like simple. It's just too much. It's scary.
It's just crazy that it's like actually
and
here.
it's gonna move much quicker.
Oh yeah.
That's the part that's even worse.
Like in the 90s, the movie Gattaca came out. Do you remember that movie
Nope.
with Ethan Hawke? It's actually a great movie. You should. Ethan Hawke, Jude Law. It's about exactly what I was saying. There's a technology where you can edit, you can genetically engineer your children. And so it's like a utopia. Everyone is genetically engineered, but they only allow each person to have like one child. And then, they have one family has another kid accidentally. So they're not allowed to, they don't bring it in. So it doesn't get genetically engineered. So he's like a normal person, but everyone else is superior. And it's that story. Really good movie. I highly recommend it.
What's it called?
Gattaca, Gattaca, because GATC are the building blocks of DNA. DNA is just 4 chemicals. That's it.
I would never know that.
Which is even crazy that DNA is 4 chemicals. That's it. It's just guanine, adenine.
Okay, stop flexing.
Whatever.
Show off.
And just the movements of those is what makes, like, I think we share like 65% of our DNA with an apple. So just GATC, you rearrange them, you get an apple, you get a human. It's so fucking weird. It's crazy.
Science has always been never a strong point for me. I don't understand. I'm much better with the gift of gab and bullshitting with my mouth and analyzing that way and being creative. I'm not a good science medical guy.
So speaking of China, because I feel like that was that was a big worry of what we were just talking about. Have you been following like all the tariff stuff that's evolved? Because last week we talked about when the tariffs just started.
Yes, but I don't know the extent of what happened. Like, has the market gone back up? I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, so last week...
I should look at it?
It's definitely gone back up. If you want to look. Last week was when the tariffs first were dropped on every country. And then a few days after... Are you all right? Are you logging in?
Yeah, I'm okay.
It's not... They're not...
But
soaring.
it doesn't matter. I'm not touching it, so it doesn't matter.
So a few days after Trump released all the tariffs.
Yeah.
What?
542.
Okay.
Mom's number.
A few days after Trump released the tariffs, he removed...
That's the time, people, not the...
Yeah, it's the time of the day that we're recording. Right. Okay. He removed a lot of them from, friendly countries. Kind of, a lot of people on the left are saying it was Trump. It was a stupid plan to begin with, and he realized how bad it was because the economy tanked. So then he, walked it back. And then a lot of people on the right are saying this was his plan all along. He wanted to show the world the power that we had because it tanked markets across the world. So a lot of people are saying, to the countries that are friendly to us, he just wanted to show them like, hey, look what we're doing. We have the power to kind of control all of you.
And he's been talking about making America the powerhouse nation again before he even did the tariff, but implemented it. He said this, that we need to show that America can manufacture here, that America is the superpower. We take America back, that people need to understand that we control things, and we need the American dollar to be what people are basing the currency on, not the euro or something else. He has been saying that before he implemented the tariff.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So he put a pause on tariffs for like most countries, a 90-day pause. That's why the markets really bounced back.
Okay.
But China, a few days into the tariffs,
said we're doing the same thing.
Yeah, so we put a tariff on China, a really high one.
Yep.
It was like 80% or something. And then they put a tariff on all of our stuff
right.
or all of their exports into.
Correct.
So now it's like, okay. Then Trump doubled down and put 104% tariff on them. And then they doubled down again. So Trump removed tariffs from most countries except China. So like there's still a huge tariff on Chinese imports. And China has a tariff on our stuff. So everyone's calling like a trade war. Like we are fully in a trade war with China, and it's bad. Because our economy is very dependent on theirs, and their economy is very dependent on ours. So I don't know where it's going to go, but
my money's on Trump. I'm just saying.
I'm glad. I really am afraid of China and their growing influence.
So Trump is going to make a point here.
Yeah, I think we need to try to cut as many ties as possible with China. I really do, because
they're evil. There are adversaries.
I don't think they're evil.
They're
our enemy. We are just against each other, and we can't coexist. We can, but we shouldn't be. we shouldn't be as reliant on them as we are and as we have been. And the tariffs will force us to not be. But then an interesting thing is like a lot of now, I mean, it's going to hurt a lot of American companies. It just straight up is, because most goods come in from China and they're just not going to be able to afford it.
Okay, I get it, but
and it's going to take a long time. Ready?
Amazon hurt a lot of American companies. Grew a lot of companies too, and made a lot of people wealthy, but it harmed a lot. The internet harmed a lot of companies. Sometimes shit just happens, and I got to tell you,
but there's a huge difference because the internet and Amazon were the doings. It was just the doings of other things. This is the doing of the American government.
Yeah,
it's a decision.
But it's different.
Amazon starting wasn't a decision to do this.
No, I made the analogy of things just happen.
But this didn't just happen. That's the difference.
No, but I mean, this is what. But Bronson, I hear you loud and clear, and I agree that maybe slightly different fact pattern. What I'm trying to get at is that there are things in life that just have cycles, right? Some businesses stay, some don't, whatever it might be.
But this is affecting every business.
Okay, but sometimes America was going down a very, 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 very bad path. So, it's like this. The immediate gratification, all about the mighty dollar. That's what's been happening, and we destroy our own country, right? If we eat shit food and you get heavy because you want immediate gratification, you die early because you didn't take care of your body. If we don't take care of the animals, if we don't take care of the ecosystem, if we don't take care of our neighbors, if we don't take care of the budget, we don't take care of so many different things, and we keep bleeding ourselves and keep just immediate gratification, we're, in the long run, there is no America for your children and children's children.
Yes.
So I don't think sorry, go ahead. That's all right. So I think Trump, if we have to, things have to be a little more expensive, or if we have to take 2 steps back, take a step forward for a long haul of the benefit of America, to make America strong, to make America independent, to make America self-worthy, not relying. No, but there's truth to that. You know what I'm saying? So I believe we need to do that, and we will survive. The American people will survive, but I don't think we will survive. In 100 years, America will not be America. If we kept it the way it's going, people might cry now, but they forget the fact that over the past 10 years, the market has done well. Interest rates, when they were 3% and now they're 6%, 6% is still good. Our parents, your grandparents, my parents, the interest rates are 12% for a mortgage.
Yeah, but now you're saying there were good things over the last 10 years, but we were also going down an extremely dark path.
No, what I'm saying, but my point is, when I make that point, is that we get spoiled. You know what I'm saying? People only think about today. That's the problem. You can't only think about today. Why are people in debt? Why are people put on a credit card? Why are people not healthy? They only think about today. So I think that
I agree
that I don't want things to be more expensive. Don't get me wrong, but I do want America to be America in 50 to 100 years from now. And I got to tell you something. It's not going to at the rate it was happening.
But
it wasn't.
Two things. One,
and that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you, but I have two responses. One is that I don't think that introducing these tariffs so drastically and so quickly is going to it's not the best way.
We had tariffs many years ago, right?
Yeah.
And everybody has tariffs on us. We don't have tariffs on anybody?
But Dad, I'm not saying that tariffs are a bad idea, but let's say like Lululemon, right? They manufacture all their clothes in China, right? Let's say. And the goal is to get Lululemon to manufacture their clothes in America. Great. We all want that, except Lululemon. But that would be great. It creates American jobs. Does all this stuff.
Problem, the workworkmanship's not going to be. That's the problem.
Well, so that goes to my next point.
Cost of labor will be higher.
That goes to my second point. But my first point is if we're setting up these extreme tariffs to force manufacturing in America in order to make America great, it's like it's not so easy, because Lululemon can't just be like, oh shit, it's expensive to make our clothes in China now, really expensive. Okay, America, cool. There's a factory right here. Let's go get it. No, it's like that takes years to build up the infrastructure to be able to manufacture in America. It can't just happen within 90 days.
No one's saying it will.
But the tariffs, there's a 104% tariff on Chinese imports right now. So it is. Lululemon has to pay 104% on their goods to come into America.
Or then maybe people buy, let's say, Under Armour. I don't know. I'm just throwing.
But Under Armour's made in China also.
I'm just saying there's different.
But there's not enough manufacturing infrastructure in America to support cutting us off from the world.
We're not
as
cut off from the world.
drastically as it
There's
is.
been a lot of tariffs that have been lifted. You just said.
Yeah, but we don't get our goods from Spain.
Okay,
we get them from China.
You know, Bronson.
I have my next point why I think this is a bad idea.
Okay, there will be other opportunities, and I'm telling you, I believe in taking sometimes a 2-step back. Look, remember I quit my job in New York and I moved here and I had no income just to build a future, and it took 20 years of hard work before I started making some money.
Imagine if that exact same life that you just lived happened to every single human in America. Our economy would completely tank. If everyone was like, well, I need 20 years to get back. But if every business was like, we need 20 years.
Bronson, there will be some sort of reset in some sort of industries that just have to be done.
Okay, so the other thing I agree with you saying we were headed down a bad path. America wouldn't have been America in 100 years.
Thank God he stopped the borders. I mean, these are fucking catastrophic things.
I think that there are a lot of problems in the country, and I think that the issue isn't economics or politics or tariffs or the rest of the world. I think the majority of the problems in this country were cultural, and I don't think you fix that with tariffs. I don't think you fix that by forcing jobs back to America. There are deep cultural problems in America.
That's one of the problems. It's not one or the other.
No, but that's causing most of the problems.
Economics. There's a lot of economics and corruption.
But a lot of the economic
big thing.
No, but a lot of the economic problems are because of the culture in America. The lazy workforce.
But that could be changed.
The social media.
That could be changed.
It can't be changed by tariffs.
But maybe listen.
But you were saying we needed to do this because we were going down a really dark path. People, and you named all these things, and it's like all the things that you named were cultural things. The problems in the economy are cultural.
No, I think that's
the problems at the border were cultural.
I think that's part of it. I think there's many different problems. I don't think it's just one.
The corruption is cultural.
No, but it's also there's also money and economic base,
but
right?
A lot of that is cultural. That we let that happen because the American people have been brainwashed. The culture has been taken away from us by the big corporations. That a lot of people are like, oh, I don't care what Bank of America does because they support BLM. There's so many bad cultural problems that our country has been strangled.
There is truth to that, and I think that's one of the many aspects. They're slightly different issues.
That's a lot harder. It's a lot harder to fix culture than it is to fix economic issues.
But I do think that we need to, if countries are putting tariffs on America, there's no reason why we should put a tariff. And I agree, Trump is going very far extreme. It's purposeful. There's a lot of reasons behind it, probably some of which we don't know. And I agree with you. Part of it is the fact saying, look, we are America. I'm showing you the power we have, like you said. And he talked about that for quite some time when he became president before he actually implemented tariffs. So I don't know a lot about it. I know what I know. I also don't know. I don't want to lose money, but I do believe in him. So I have to sort of.
But do you believe in the general American person, right? Like if we open up if there has to now be a Lululemon factory in Springfield, Missouri, that has to be staffed with Americans. It's like they're not gonna work. Or like we just removed they've been removing a lot of illegal immigrants who were like picking strawberries in the heat of California field.
Yeah,
you think Californians are gonna do that? They're just not, because Americans won't want to work that way because for so long we haven't. In the 40s. Americans were farmers, or people worked in the mines or the factories because they were like, that's just what we do. But for now, 80 years, no one has done those jobs. And the younger and younger generations are like, not only do I not want to do those jobs because no one's done it,
work,
but I'm only want to be on TikTok all day.
You're right.
But it's like, and how do you fix that? That seems
know.
like such a harder problem to get the kids.
Maybe we put our homeless on those jobs and pay them.
But how do we even do that? All the homeless.
And we need to fix our homeless too.
But you know what I mean? Like these are such deep cultural problems that the kids are growing up with these, even not just my generation, people in 30s and 40s.
No, you're right. I don't disagree with you.
How are you going to fix those problems? Be like, oh, you want to be an influencer? No, you have to work in the car plant. No one wants to work in the car plant.
They're going to keep the factories where they are. They're going to be manufactured where they are. I don't think it's coming necessarily to America. There'll be certain things, maybe like auto workers, things like that. But I think they're going to keep it. It's just going to be an economic shift and change.
But how does this China
It's going to be a deal
end?
I don't know the answer to that.
If it keeps, it's ramping up.
Yeah, but that's just stupid. It's like I'm bigger than you. I'm bigger. That's just stupid. It will end because they're just
the economic pressures are
they're
so
just
high.
posturing right now. It's the egos. Whose dick is bigger?
I don't want us to. Like, I
But I
think
don't
it's
like-
good to
wait.
force us off of China's.
We don't want to be dependent, right? We talked about that.
And we are dependent
with the
on
chips
China.
and everything. You talked about that. That's not good stuff.
The medicine,
Everything,
Literally
and we don't know the shit medicine coming in.
no, and it's all shit coming in from
Right,
China.
so fuck
and
that.
even just that, it's like everything you buy on Amazon, it's like you buy it so cheap, it's a little shit thing, and you're like, oh, I have another thing now. It's like we have overconsumption, and it's like most people in America don't need. I would say 75% of the things that they
I
own.
was going to say 90.
Literally, probably 90% of the
I would
things that
say,
they
Mom,
own, they don't
they-
need.
we wait. Whether you look
I mean,
at
just look around this room. What do we need in this room?
So much shit, so much money on shit. That's what I was telling Mom
We
yesterday.
just buy cheap shit because it's
It's just
cheap,
buying.
and then it falls apart after a little bit from China.
We have no more shelf space.
What do we need in this room? Literally,
Nothing.
there's not a single thing we need in this
No,
room.
the wedding albums and Groot.
You know what I mean? We
Come
buy
on.
stuff that's so cheap because
I
it
might
comes
get
from
rid of you over
China.
Groot. Okay.
And so you see a thing on Amazon and you're like, oh my God, it's $7. Why wouldn't I buy it? It's $7. And then you use it for once
Isn't
and then
that
it
when
sits in a
it's
drawer.
cheaper? It's not Amazon.
Temu.
Yeah.
Temu.
My friend Paul was teaching me about it.
Yeah, you can buy like anything you want.
He
on there.
said he gets boxes. No,
But see,
Paul,
that's a a cultural thing.
no,
and that's a problem.
He has an issue.
And I would rather
Bronson, he has an issue.
Yeah.
He has over 800 Invicta watches.
Oh my God.
He's the cutest guy in the world. You know, who he
I'd
is.
rather cut off everyone from cheap, shitty goods and be like, we were just watching the movie last night, right? Bone Tomahawk. And it was old West America where everything was just built in America by people. And I said to you, I was like, things back then were built with quality. I'd rather have,
when the drawer opened.
yeah. But I'd rather have 70% less items in the world.
My friends, I'd rather have quality over quantity. I'm so sick of fucking all the people we go out with.
I'd rather have
I tell Mom that all the time.
way less choices of things in the world, but the choices I do have are quality, and they're actually like they cost a little bit more because they're quality.
You know, tell me, you look,
I'd
look
rather
at me with my
have that.
luxury. You see my watches and the cars and what I like in life when I travel.
Yeah.
I'm all about the fucking let it be
Quantity
better
over quality.
I will pay more to get the better level because that's what. But everyone can do that.
No, but they did in the 40s. You could
Right.
go to
I
you could buy a
agree.
Ford for like anyone could afford a Ford back in the day. They could. There was no one that couldn't afford a Ford, and then the rich people bought the Cadillacs or the imports. But at the base level, everyone could afford a Ford.
I agree with
And
you.
so it's like we can
Because things are
can
shit.
do that.
Everything's
and
shit.
even now, you buy a Ford or any car that you even go into the mom's Range Rover, and it's just like
shit.
it's plastic.
No, it's shit.
And you're pushing everything, and it
But-
creaks.
but
Everything creaks, and
not
it's like,
not in the Bentley.
but it's still there's plastic in it,
The Porsche has plastic.
and you
That
push
cup
on
holder.
the plastic, and it goes.
That
it
cup
creaks.
holder's a joke.
Yeah,
in the
it's like,
Porsche.
guys, come on,
Don't even
fuck
do
on.
that.
Yeah, everything is
No,
kind of.
I got to tell you, the Range Rover for what it is, and I love the drives great, whatever.
Drives
but,
great.
But I agree with you. Push that center console. I'm so not impressed.
just the fact that there's plastic.
How
and
about
all
even
this
that
stuff.
dashboard? It's the material.
Or just everything. But that's also an economic thing, and that's also cultural, I think, too, is that a lot of companies are like, why would I make something that lasts? Because then I don't get
Correct.
more business.
Correct.
But that's a cultural thing. Back in the day, they didn't used to think that way. Ford in the 50s was like, we want to build a car that someone buys and they have it forever. Because that's
But
what we
it's
want. We
all
want our cars to
money.
be strong.
It's all money.
Like literally, it was Ford built tough is their thing, and it's like, no, now it's Ford built for 3 years, and then you have to buy a new one.
It's all money. It's
I know.
greed. Everything's greed.
It's a shame, but I don't know how you fix that.
You know how you fix it? You fucking concentrate on just your close friends, your loved ones, and you just you just live your life. Because you know what? I don't know how to change that. But
I want to focus more. I want to try to focus more on like people, and this is just an individual thing, but I think it would be great if everyone did it. Like people who have spent years doing something, and it's like that's their job, and they're making something, right? It's like if I need a desk, it's like I want to go to a carpenter who that's all he fucking does is build wood.
I know, but you can go to a fucking furniture store and get it for $1,200.
Yeah,
But
but
it costs you 10 grand.
But it's plywood from China. It's that particle board from China, and it's like no, that's not good for anyone.
So then make a lot of money.
No, but
and you will.
But some things don't need
and
to be
go
a
to
lot
a
of money,
carpenter.
do they?
Yes, you're gonna go to a carpenter, build your desk, not be cheap
Why? A simple desk?
because they have overhead, they have staff,
I know, but
they
that's
have
the
rent.
problem. It's like if we can, and I think that's the good part about these
Millwork
tariffs.
is very expensive.
If we can slowly turn this ship back around, and over the next couple decades, we can make it. But I think it's also a cultural thing. I think if we can get the youth in America to be like, you know what, I value quality American
they're lazy
workmanship.
fucks. Everybody works from home.
I
They're
know,
fucking they're fucking lazy.
that's why I'm
Work
saying
from
it's a
home and they're
cultural
fucking
thing.
short in PJs. Look at the people that go on planes. I wake up looking better in the morning than these fucking people the way they get out on planes.
Or also,
they look
like-
dirty. They're disgusting. Nobody has self-respect anymore.
Or just small business, I think is going to become, it needs to become so important. People are saying, make America great again. We want to go back to what it was in like the 50s. The way to that is small business. You had your town, and every business was owned by someone you knew.
Well, a lot of business are going out now. A lot of large companies are going out.
I know, but I think it's a lot of
like
large
it.
companies are
Listen,
going
by the
out.
way, you go into CVS, you go into Walgreens, look what's working there.
But imagine,
it's disgusting.
I'd rather go to Stein's Pharmacy.
That's what I
and
went
go
to.
and be like, hey, George,
We had a
here's my-"
house account, and boom, and that's what we did.
That's what it needs to be, and that's the
Hardware store.
yeah. That's the where I want the Make America Great Again. That's what I want.
The one on Federal, little hardware store. They're 4 times the price of Amazon for the same
I
tape.
know.
The
Because
same
they
tape.
have to be.
Wait, the same tape.
But they have to be because they're paying rent and Amazon isn't. But it's like it's the only person that Amazon is good for is Amazon shareholders. That's it. It's not good for anyone else. I guess it's good for us because we save the money. But I think we need to collectively,
problem.
as a
I
country, be
agree.
like, we need to knock this shit off. I don't know how you stop it. I guess tariffs is one way,
But go back. I believe in Trump right now. I think he's going to do well. And yeah.
we got to end early because Dad has a work call.
Yeah.
right now.
It's been a crazy day. So,
Yeah.
Ronnie, again, I love you. I'm very
Love you
proud
too.
of you.
Thanks.
Very, very. You did a fucking phenomenal job. I told you that. Everybody, thank you for continuing listening. We wish you next week's Easter.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
I think next week's Easter. Happy Passover to my fellow Jews. And again, thank you for almost 4 years of your continued support. We love you guys. Brian, I love you.
Love
Bye,
you
buddy.
too.
You're joking, right?
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be optimistic about that.
Well, I guess you're too young to be a little pessimistic like me.
The fucking things I see out there, people are stupid.